solve each of the following equations, right? What are you supposed to do there? Let's see what people put for this one. This was E1. Okay, some people got it, which was good. Somebody got half a mark, something, some error somewhere, and then somebody made an error to most of the studies. Solve for y, yes, but you transpose. That's only how you solve for y. So good. As most of you all know, there are two ways to do this, but the fastest way is to move the entire fraction one time. So in other words, to find y, to get y by itself, which means you have to get y by itself, you have to remove the fraction 3/2. And you have to remember that these two are being multiplied. So you do the opposite of multiplication, which is to divide. Some people write the division here and it may look confusing. But when it's a fraction, the safest way to write the division, so it don't look confusing, is, okay, we put the 3/2 and put the division, the normal primary school kind of division sign from a long time, if you want to say that. Right back this part equal to 12, and the 12 also has to be divided by. So in this way, it will look a little bit more cleaner, I think, and understandable. So when you're dividing the same fraction by the same fraction, you don't even have to work on that. You just end up with 1. And 1 by y is just y. You don't have to work on this, right? The same thing divided by the same thing will always melt down to the number 1. So the main thing you have to work on is this part to get the answer. So all you would say is 12. As you all know, some of you could use a calculator. 12 divided by 3/2. When you have a fraction, you can put 12 as a fraction over 1, because all whole numbers have a denominator of 1. So when you go back to primary school stuff here, when you have this, you change the division to multiplication and you flip the second fraction, or you do the inverse. And you get the answer. So 3 into 3 is 1, 3 into 12, 4 3s are 12. 4 2s are 8. 4 2s are 8 over 1 by 1 is 1. And we know 8 over 1 is a whole number, right? Any number that has a denominator of 1 is a whole number. So y is equal to 8. So if you had an error, let's fix that. I know some of you all would not around, so you might want to take it down. If anybody have any questions about this, ask the questions, because next we are moving on to the quadratic equation. This, more like transposition, but this is just a plain transposition question. Transposition kind of falls under algebra. So you can also say it's an algebraic topic. Is there anybody writing? Anybody writing? Anybody? Nobody. Does anybody have any questions about this? I don't think so. Should I? Do you have any questions about that? Or anybody else? The quadratic question, some people did fine with it. Some people don't want to have. Somebody got a half. And some people left it out. Like, why would you leave out a quadratic, man? So, solve the following equations. So look at it, right? Look at how they have this written here, right? In the question here, they have factorized each of the following expressions. So that was number 2A. That factorization only applied up to here, right? And then part B, they said to solve each of the following equations, which means you could have used the quadratic formula to solve this. And let's now hold on, let me see. Yeah, some people leave, but I was like, what? The quadratic formula is on the paper, it's like on the formula list. So I'm like, what? So I saw some people use the factorization method, some use the formula. So I know somebody tell me to use the formula, I'll do that. Does anybody want me to do this using the factorization method as well? Those are the two easiest ones to use, really. So I'm going to start by doing the formula if anybody wants me to solve it using the we call the other one the factorization method, say something, right? So quadratics, most of them, the majority of them are written in the form ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So what is a going to be? A is going to be the number in front of x squared. So I'm right here, a is going to be 2. B is going to be the number in front of x, which is 5, positive 5. And C is going to be the number by itself, which is negative 3. I think most people know that, right? Well, for those of you who I did this on. So the formula is x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac. Ooh, what was that? Everything divided by 2a. So that's the formula. So equal to, we know what A, B, and C are from here. So all you have to do is insert it into the formula and figure out the answer, you know. So minus, you put back the minus sign. B is 5, so you put the 5 in place of B, or replace B with 5. Put back the plus or minus, because you all will know, most of you, I believe, when you're doing quadratics, you have to find two values of x, right? So that's what the plus and the minus is for over each other. Then you find the square root of b squared is, well, b is 5, so we put 5 and put the squared, minus 4. 4ac means 4 multiplied by a multiplied by c. So 4 has to be multiplied by 2, because that's what a is, and multiply by c, which is negative 3. And everything divided by 2a. 2 by a is 2. So once you put everything in the correct place, the next stage is to simplify and solve and find the two values of x. Okay, so I will usually put back this. You don't have to do nothing with this for now. What you could solve is everything under the root. So usually I would do it in parts and say 5 parts are 25 and then write back everything. But when you have a calculator, put 5 squared on the calculator and then you can put minus 4 by 2 by negative 3. You'll get what's supposed to be under this root sign one time. So you know, let's work it. But of course, if you're doing this in a paper one, you have to know to do it step by step, which means you'll do the 5 parts are 25. Because you have to do a power, anything with an exponent before anything else here. But yeah, so 49, and then 2 multiplied by 2 is 4. Once you reach this stage, the next thing you're really supposed to do, find the root of 49. And some of you should know that in your head. The root of 49 is 7. The thing is, the more things you know in your head, the faster you'll be able to do maths, you know. And when we take it long, like Lord have mercy. So we have here the root of 49 is 7, right? The 7 are 49. All divided by 4. When you reach this point where you have one number on either side of the plus or minus, that is when you will separate the equation with one with the plus and one with the minus between the numbers to find the two values of x. So the first one, I will write -5 add 7 divided by 4. For the second one, I will write, thinking, where's the writer? I'll write it on this side, just in case I have to, you know, do a little more. -5 minus 7 over 2. So one of them must have the negative sign between the numbers on top, and one must have the positive sign between the numbers on top, and then you simplify and find the two values of x. So we end up with x is equal to -5 at 7, which is same as saying 7 take away 5 is 2, is positive 2 because the 7 is bigger and has a positive sign. Or as I would say sometimes when you have a negative or a positive number, or just use a calculator, but you still have to remember your rules though. You have a negative or positive number, you subtract and the answer will take the sign and the bigger number. Over 4, so if you simplify this one, 2 over 4 is a half. So for those who not sure, because they're like, how you went from 2 over 4 to half, like using divisibility. So I know 2 can go into 2 and 4. If I say 2 divided by 2, I get 1. 4 divided by 2 is a half. Sorry, it's 2, so you get a half. And the next x value will be, when you have two negative numbers, -5 and -7, you add them, and the answer is always going to be negative. So -12 over 4, and then you divide this, a minus divided by a plus is a minus. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So the two values of x is a half and -3. Right? Does anybody have any questions about this? Shania, Amisha, Kimberly, Brianna, Kareem, Shiva, Jane. Does anybody have any questions? Shane as well. Do you have any questions? Okay, I don't think Shane have a question. But yeah, the others who I just called, do you have any questions about this? Okay. So let me know when you are finished writing, if anybody is. So we could carry on with this question. Shania, are you there? Do you have any questions about what I just did? Amisha, do you have any questions? But are you clear about it though? Uh, it's just gonna take a little bit more practice. Don't worry about it. I'll do some of that with you next week, okay? Um, so I was looking for you particularly. Let me see. Let me just double check something here. You'll just give me a minute or less, possibly. So I'll tell you exactly what happened regarding that. Where is it? Um, So yes, as I've been saying most of the times, if you had the formula, if you use the formula version, and then you have like this stuff here, you get about 1 mark, and then you show more working, but then you have errors in it, you lose something. You're not gonna get a full mark. But if you did everything correct, you get full marks. So that's why I keep saying it's always better to do something than to leave it completely out. Right? Um, what's the next question here? Yeah, so we have here the quantities F, M, U, V, and T are related according to the formula. So the formula is F is equal to M open brackets V minus U over T. So they want us to find the value of F when M is whatever. So I personally, to me, that's easy. All you have to do, when you have M, you replace it with 3. Right? And where you have V, replace it with 2. Another thing I should say, some of you will probably just double check your stuff. And then you think you know what to do, and then you make errors and lose unnecessary marks. It is always good to double check your answers as well. So that's where the U is. Some people write this in double brackets because they have 2 signs next to it to remember to multiply the signs. Others would just write it just now. So choose one. Or some people would prefer to write this like this. 2 minus 1. It don't really matter whichever one clearer for you to write, just do that, right? So um completing the square formula also be for the last one. Yes, it could work. Completing the square. Yes, you'll just have to complete the square and go all the way down. So yeah, you could use when they don't tell you what method to use, you use whichever one easiest for you to use. You could use the factorization, you could use the next one. Well, the one I just did, or the completed the square. Um, of course, I don't want to spend time going through all that because I want to get through the questions. Well, this question, and then I wanted to do number 5. Hopefully, I do get to that point. So, in maths, when you're not sure what to do, and a problem has a whole set of signs, and you're not transposing, you start BODMAS from the beginning or BEDMAS from the beginning. Anything in brackets, solve first. So in brackets, we have this going on here. The first thing we really have to solve is the 2 sides. Because you can't do nothing until you bring those 2 sides to 1. So minus by minus is a plus. I don't know why I was using it from this bracket, but anyways, I don't start there, I'll stay right here. So 3 open brackets 2 add 1. So then the sign will change, obviously. And we still on brackets. We ain't done with brackets yet because the bracket hasn't been fully simplified. So when you have numbers inside the brackets, you can add, subtract, do whatever, right? So 2 add 1 is 3. Some people would take off the brackets, so they'll leave it. But if you remove the brackets from the 3, you have to put a multiplication sign, right? Because what's in the bracket or the answer you got in the bracket has to be multiplied what's outside the bracket. So then we end up with 3 3s are 9 over 1, which can also be written as just 9. Does anybody have any questions about this? Probably a hard one, okay. Does anybody have any questions? Anybody? Shania will just send you something on WhatsApp. Okay. But does anybody have any questions? Ah. Okay, so in the meanwhile, I want you to tell me, they say make be the subject of the formula using the same F. Some people got this, which is good. Or some people, I don't know. I don't know. When they tell you to make something the subject of the formula, what are you supposed to do? Can somebody tell me?
Transposeness.
Correct. So you transpose. So in order to get V by itself, what do you move first? Yeah, I'm waiting now. So asking because the amount of transposition thing I did with some of you all.
Multiply both sides by t.
Yes, you multiply both sides by the t, correct? So you remove that t from below, multiply here by t, and multiply there by t, which will cancel off the t, leaving us with TF, or some people. No, initially it it really don't matter if you put the T in front of the F or the F in front of the T, because in multiplication, when you multiply anything, because of the order, you always get the same thing, right? So you can put this as TF or FT, but most persons will have it as FT, so I'll put it as FT. Why do I put it as FT? Because F multiplied by T or T multiplied by F, according to algebra, when you have a multiplication sign between numbers, you just move the multiplication sign. You don't have to leave it there, right? It's the same thing. They are the same thing, right? So then we remain with M, open brackets, V minus U. So what do you do at this point? Shania, still looking for this stuff, huh? Just give me a moment. What do you do with that? Because we're trying to find V. So some people might have gotten a little trick at this moment, but if you remember what we did when we did some transition, just looking exactly like that. What is the next thing to do?
Distribute mass.
Correct. So you have to distribute. You can't just move the B without distributing because it's inside the bracket. If the B was outside the bracket, you'll do something else. But the B is inside the bracket. Therefore, you have to distribute. Okay, so this will be equal to, when you're distributing, you have to say M by V. M by V is MV. And M by negative U is negative MU. So you have the FT here. Okay, so what we're going to do now? The answer. Yeah, that answer just now, I'll confirm your answer just now. Just give me a moment, please. But yes, for the others who yeah, tell me what I'm supposed to do next. Do like you're teaching me, so I know if you know what to do. Because you
Miss,
remember what to do now.
you're moving the negative mu.
Correct.
the
So you add it on both sides because it has a subtraction sign in front of it. So to move the mu, you do the opposite of the subtraction sign. You don't divide, because some people are starting and divide. Why you not dividing? You're not separating the m from the u. So you don't have to divide anything there. So minus, as well, at least right now you don't have to divide anything. Plus mu. So the only thing I just did here was oh gosh. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I added mu on either side here. So again, does anybody have any questions about this? Or it should also add some. Is the other thing I want to ask? What's the next thing we have to do? In fact, I needed to sorry, I said so drop something out of here. So this and that is equal to MV. So yeah, at this point, what we do? What should I do? What am I supposed to do?
Miss, to separate the M from the V, you're dividing the M by both sides.
All right, so because MV, they are being multiplied, so to separate it, correct, I'm doing the wrong thing here, sorry. You divide both sides by M, as you said, and this M will cancel off because M into M is 1. So the answer is, I'm gonna flip it around, but I'm gonna flip it around, but it's gonna be the same answer. You know, somebody said something in the chat. I'm gonna check the chat just now. Equal to FT plus M U over M. Does anybody have any questions about cross? Carry across the M? Yes, correct. Very good. Okay, great. Does anybody have any questions about this?
It's if you distribute the M brackets with the V minus U first, you would have lose any marks.
Say that again?
If you distribute first, right, but you end up with the same answer, would you have lose any mark for distributing first?
Well, once you distribute, that won't cause any problems. So no, that won't cause no problem at all.
Okay.
So you could have distribute first, but I started with the transposition first. So it's really a choice. Once you know what you're doing. Okay, Shania, I'm going to send you this. You'll just give me a moment. I'm going to send you something here. Oh my gosh, what am I doing?